from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill, now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Thursday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I'm Hunt Palmer, he is Hill. Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Some Southeastern Conference quarterback discussion coming up in 15 minutes. Luke Johnson on the Saints in 30 minutes. Lots and lots and lots and lots of injuries to discuss with Luke. I got to get out an apology at the end of this hour, so y'all can stay tuned for 45 minutes for that. Saints Seahawks early thoughts at 2 o'clock, and a lot more to get to here, including best win and worst loss on the college football and NFL boards in hour number 2. Mr. Hill, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's getting so close. It's like we're not quite there, but you're starting to feel it. The butterflies, the atmosphere, starting to see people get to campus, set some stuff up. We're getting there. It feels like a big one coming up.
For me, personally, this doesn't apply to everyone, but for me personally, I feel like in the last 1 minute and 17 seconds have crossed the threshold. We got 2 hours to talk football here. I'm leaving here after a little bit of work after the show, going to the box to watch some scrimmages. Gonna go home, cook dinner, and then by the time you get up on Friday, we got a football Friday coming. We're wall to wall on 104.5 from 7 to midnight. We got our show tomorrow. Of course, we're fired up for. My buddies will be in town right after I get off the air. Parents are coming in. It's a huge weekend. I'm fired up, and this feels like the start of it. The boys on the morning show, I feel might be a little bit disrespectful to the rest of the working public when they try to say the weekend starts on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. That's not quite where I'm at. But now, as of 1 o'clock on Thursday, knowing what I got coming up the next 24 hours, I'm super, super fired up to get rolling here with LSU and Tennessee. It is a huge game. I think the environment's going to be awesome, and can't wait to get into Tiger Stadium at 11 o'clock on Saturday. I wanted to start today with a deeper dive into Tennessee. We've talked about the LSU storylines all week. That, of course, has been the passing the ball down the field, what they're going to do in terms of that, the players-only meeting, can the defense hold up, all those types of things. This is more, I think, for me, a segment on Tennessee. I went back and watched a great majority of the Florida and Pittsburgh games. All due respect to the Vols, I'm not going to put a huge amount of stock into the Ball State game nor the Akron game. They ripped those two teams apart. I don't care. I want to know what you did against Pittsburgh, who is functional, although they lost to Georgia Tech last week, and what you do against Florida, who is not the Urban Meyer, Steve Spurrier Florida Gators, but still a talented football team that is fairly comparable, I think, in a lot of ways to LSU. So, big picture, what is Tennessee at this point? You know this. They're tied for second in the country in scoring offense. They're tied for first in the country in passing offense. They are the top total offense in college football at 560 yards per game. They've been good on third down, 45%. They are tied for fourth in the country in 30-plus yard pass plays. They've had 13 of those. They're eighth in the country in first downs per game. You get the picture there. And then on the same deal that tells the story that we all know at this point, in terms of time of possession, there are only 131 teams in D1, and they're 123rd. They are near the bottom, near last in the country in time of possession. They don't care. They're going to get out there, and they're going to go real fast and punt, or they're going to go real fast and score a touchdown, but they're going to go real fast either way, and that bears itself out. By now, you also know that their defense has been questionable. They're 28th in the country in scoring defense and 19 points per game, which is not terrible. They're 21st in rush defense at 97 yards per game, which is not terrible. Again, 131 teams in D1. They are 128th in pass defense, 309 yards per game. That drops them all the way back to 94th in the country in total defense at 407 yards per game. And they don't get after the passer all that well either, 51st in the country in sacks. So the defense is very vulnerable. You've watched a lot of Tennessee play this year. We saw them that Thursday night against Ball State. You saw a lot against Florida. Your overall impressions after I lay out all the numbers there with Tennessee?
I'd be shocked if we don't have a handful of plays that are plus 20 yards or more. They give up a lot of big plays, and to me, that's the first sign of a defense that's just not very good, whether it's in the run game, the pass game. A lot of times teams are just kind of getting what they want, and you go back and watch that Pitt game, their running back's having a day. He goes well over 106 yards a carry against that Tennessee defense, and they had a great opportunity to go up 17-0 against that Tennessee offense. And I know that could change the complete perspective of that game. And I thought, watching that Florida game, Richardson just kind of threw the ball where he wanted to. I thought they didn't do a great job keeping their rush lanes, which is something, if you do that against Shane Daniels, he's going to take off and run down the field. So looking at this team as a whole, I just think that defense isn't great. Their offense, scores so many points week in and week out, and you can trust an offense to score 35-plus a week. Your defense doesn't have to be great. So I think for LSU, of all weeks, this is a defense you can take advantage of, whether you want to pass the ball to the weapons on the outside, if you want to get your run game going. I don't think they're world beaters. The talent just isn't quite there when you think of some of the other teams in the SEC. So of all weeks, man, I'm expecting these guys to score some points against this Tennessee defense.
So I'll go back to the notes I have on the Pitt and Florida games. Against Pittsburgh, in that game, Pitt hits a 78-yard touchdown run right through the Tennessee defense to take a 7-0 lead. It's 10-0 Pitt late in the first quarter, and Pitt has the ball in the red zone, and Slovis throws a pick. Now, it was on third down, so they're going to have to kick a field goal anyway. But they were up 10-0 with the ball in the red zone, and Keaton Slovis throws a pick. Immediately, that pick was a touchback. The ball is taken 80 yards for a touchdown. Pitt then had a 57-yard touchdown pass to their tight end, who hurdled the safety on the sidelines and kept going. It was an incredible play. But that put Pitt up 17-7 with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. It looks like you're going to go Tennessee scored a couple touchdowns in the second quarter, played really well, and it looked like the Vols were going to go up 21-17 at the half, and then Slovis fumbled, and Tennessee got a late field goal to go up 24-17. So they blitzed them in the second quarter, but did not come out too quick in the first quarter. Then in the second half, Tennessee comes out and scores 3 straight touchdowns and takes total control of the game. So it was a slow start. Pitt punched him in the mouth and could have really gone up 17-0 and did not. And then Tennessee hammered off a bunch of touchdown drives in a row. That'll be a theme here as we come back to the Florida game. But in that game, Tennessee threw for 325 yards, and Cedric Tillman had 162 of those, so more than half of their passing offense. He is questionable for this game. Josh Heupel said today in his press conference that Tillman was, quote, out there moving around, which is part of it, but he's 3 weeks removed from this tightrope procedure, so we'll see as the week moves on. He's obviously a huge, huge part of it. So in that Pitt game, you look at a slow start, a blitzkrieg in the middle of the game, and did enough to win with the offense shouldering the most of the load. I mentioned that slow start. In the game against Florida in Knoxville, with 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first half, so the first half's almost over, Tennessee's got 10 points. And with 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first half, Tennessee gets the ball at their own 1-yard line and goes 99 yards for a touchdown with 7 seconds left in the half. So a 99-yard awesome drive that Hooker was sensational on to get them to 17 points at the half. Then they come out in the third quarter and they go touchdown drive, touchdown drive, touchdown drive, 73 yards, 62 yards, 87 yards. Hooker was calm, made the right reads. He played awesome, but it was another slow start, and then they got in the locker room at halftime and routed them in the third quarter. I have more to talk about, but is there anything to the fact that Tennessee's not starting as quickly? Are they wearing teams down with their tempo late in the game? I mean, what do you think is the biggest reason, adjustments, that they're having the success they are in the second, especially the third quarter, as opposed to the start of these games against Pittsburgh and Florida?
Yeah, I think, they had some fumbles in that Florida game. And I also think, anytime you don't punt the ball in the game, it's probably not, the worst offense you've ever seen. Yeah. And I also think, too, I have to agree with you with the tempo. That's the whole point of it. And that's kind of what Chip Kelly started a while back. And it's like you go fast, you go fast, you go fast, you keep the defense on the field. And, you're trying to run as many plays as possible. And then when you got a quarterback that's not turning it over, it's not really getting sacked a ton, it's going to wear the defense down. And you continue that pace for 60 minutes and you're going up and down the field, especially if you're scoring fast, that defense has got to trot right back out there and you got to play a whole nother series. And so I think it's been a lot of that. That's quite why you kind of see those blitzkriegs in the second half and not in the first half. They're wearing some of these defenses down. And I think obviously without Tillman, that kind of hurts their passing attack a little bit. But that's kind of the whole thing about this offense. They want to keep you out there. They want to not allow you to substitute and get fresh bodies out there. And, by the end of the game, they got 30-plus points. And you don't have an offense that can match that. Tennessee's normally going to come out the other side with a victory.
As far as that running game goes for Tennessee in the Florida game, there wasn't a lot there. Statistically, it looks really nice. Hooker had a 44-yarder that was not a design, and that's a great play by him, and that's certainly something you've got to pay attention to. But outside of a 39-yard run by Jabari Small, which certainly counts, they didn't really have a bunch of chunk plays in the ground game. It's kind of a keep you honest, go fast. They certainly used it in the red zone, and they've scored some touchdowns around the goal line with the run game, but it's not one that's cut deep. That's a Tennessee offense. Now, as far as defense goes, in watching that game against Florida, there's not much more I can say than Anthony Richardson was sensational. He made a lot of plays in that game off schedule. Dropping back, little pressure, he evades it, runs outside, makes plays down the field, runs a little bit, but more often than not, keeping his eyes down the field, extending the play, and making a lot of really strong throws to uncovered guys in the secondary. It wasn't that Tennessee was busting a ton of coverages. They did have a couple, or that Richardson was sitting in the pocket picking them apart. More often than not, it was just extended plays where Tennessee didn't have the ability to cover very long. So the question is, certainly Jaden Daniels has some of the skill set that Richardson has. I think he could run with him. I don't think he can throw it as far, but he can do the things that Richardson did in terms of completing those 15, 18-yard throws, extending plays. We saw him do it against New Mexico. That's New Mexico. The entire thing boils down to, can he do it against Tennessee the way that Richardson did for 500 yards of total offense?
Yeah, I think a big part of that was Tennessee getting out of their rush lanes. If you watch that game, they're running up the field, they're flying up the field, and I think if Tennessee's defensive coordinator has half of a brain, he's not going to tell those guys to do that this week. You're going to tell them, stay in your lane, don't bull rush back into the quarterback, kind of keep him in the pocket, and, hopefully the guys up the middle can get home. But, they did a terrible job against that. I just thought that defense does not play well. Anytime you walk into a football game and the other opposing quarterback's responsible for over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns, that's just not a great defense. And then they were just very undisciplined. I thought they didn't tackle well in the secondary. Their safeties and corners don't tackle well. So, it just opened up the world for Richardson to just light them on fire. And that's exactly what happened. But, what happened in that game, their defense kind of did them a disservice and kind of got blitzed, and it kind of put Florida behind the 8 ball. But, yeah, I think that defense, they have to be a lot more disciplined. If you're going to fly up the field with your ends, Jaden's got to take off, and he can have a very similar day because Richardson led Florida in rushing that game. They couldn't really get anything from their running backs, and so he led them in rushing, and obviously we know what he kind of did in the passing game. So maybe they change that strategy, but if they come in the Death Valley and rush those ends upfield, Jaden may rush for 150 himself.
As far as the injuries go, obviously nobody from Tennessee is playing awesome football in the secondary at this point, but their senior corner starter, Warren Burrell, had surgery this last week. He is out for the season, but they do get a little help in safety D. Williams. He has not played in any of the games, but he has been cleared to practice, has been practicing, and they expect him to play. So one of the better players in the Tennessee secondary, not going to play the rest of the season. It's a questionable unit, and it just got a little bit more questionable as they come to Tiger Stadium. So big picture for me, look, Tennessee had only 10 points against Florida with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Tennessee was down 14-0 and potentially looking at 17-0 against Pitt early in the game before something took over in that offense, and those two teams weren't good enough to overcome it. Pitt, maybe a talent issue. Florida, maybe playing on the road. Who knows? But it's not as if this team has walked all over everybody for 60 minutes and nobody stopped them yet. Nobody stopped them in the third quarter, and that's something that LSU's been awesome at the last couple of weeks in terms of they haven't allowed a second quarter touchdown in a month. So it's been really good for LSU defensively in the second half. Maybe a game of adjustments between a really good offensive mind, a great quarterback, and a defensive coordinator who's had his guys in position most of the year. So a lot to get to with LSU and Tennessee, but wanted to get after those two games with the Volunteers, and we were I think pretty spot on with what we looked at there. Luke Johnson's going to be with us in 15 minutes talking about the Saints injury report, what he expects to see from the Black and Gold on Sunday. When we come back, a point spread in the Southeastern Conference swung big time earlier this morning. We'll tell you why and what we think. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Car shopping is not what it used to be. You used to go out to the car lot, walk the whole lot with a salesperson, get in 5 or 6 cars, drive 3 of them around, make a phone call. So it's not necessarily like that anymore. You can go there to Bayou Ford and check out all their inventory at the lot, or you can go to BayouFord.com and see every car they've got on the lot. It changes day to day as cars move out and car inventory moves in. they'll update that, and you'll see exactly what they've got there. They've got all the information, the Carfax, the pricing, all the bells and whistles included in each car. And if you see exactly what you want, that's awesome. Start that process. Give Ben Gagne and the crew down there a phone call and get rolling. If you don't see what you want and you know in your head, they'll customize a vehicle for you, and they can have that turned around in 60 to 90 days. It's a new era of shopping in terms of the car market. It's an Amazon world we live in here, and Bayou Ford's happy to oblige. In fact, they'll deliver, just like Amazon, that car right to your home when it comes in.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They have the all-new 2022 Ford Expedition Timberline. It's tinted windows and a ready-to-lift 3 kit on there. Also, all-new 2021 Ford F-150s. They're getting $14,000 off MSRP, including the Black Widow edition.
Love to hear that. Every new purchase at Bayou Ford, 1 million mile powertrain warranty. Bayou Ford, check out the website, BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown.
NFL is back. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
South Carolina's headed to Lexington on Saturday, and the point spread on that game was 10.5 as of last night. It is now 6. That is a 4.5-point swing. I don't think Vegas is guessing. My assumption would be that Will Levis will not be on the field for Kentucky based on that point spread. Look, this is a Kentucky team that has struggled to run the ball at times, has struggled to stop people at times, and Levis has kind of been their offense, and he was an issue in terms of turning the football over on Saturday. But you take him off the field, I think Kentucky looks a lot different. If I'm South Carolina, there's a little pep in my step this week. And look, we'll talk about this, but this is the story of really the weekend in college football. In the SEC, you take LSU, Tennessee off the table where the quarterbacks appear to be healthy. Everybody else just about may have some issues, and that's certainly not the case. That is the case in Kentucky.
Yeah, you definitely. He's been the heart and soul of that team. He's already at 1,400 yards passing right now to this point in the season. 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So, yeah, I mean, you go into that season feeling great if you're a Wildcat fan because you know you got a quarterback who's experienced. He's got to take care of the ball for the most part, and you know you trust him to throw the ball down the field. So I think going into this game, I still feel good about Kentucky. I just don't see anything from South Carolina. Chris Rodriguez last week, 19 carries. I think you're going to probably get 30 this week. Yep. So they're going to feed the ball to him and run it probably down South Carolina's throat. I don't think they have much of a pulse this year. It's bad. And I think Rattler's going to be a prime candidate to turn the ball over. And you mix that in with the game flow and them running the ball, I just don't see it. Covering is one story, but I just can't see, South Carolina beating Kentucky this week. But, yeah, it's definitely a big deal that Levis isn't playing.
For sure. And you look around the conference, you look at the point spread in the Arkansas and Mississippi State game in Starkville. State is favored by 9.5. Mm-hmm. That's indicates to me that KJ Jefferson probably not going to play, and that would mean that Cade Fortin would have to take over on the road against Mississippi State. And again, Arkansas with Rocket Sanders has run the ball pretty well, and they've found some semblance of a passing game. The defense has been disappointing for them, but KJ Jefferson is kind of the heart and soul of that team as well. And if you take him off the field, it changes everything.
Yeah, I think for them that's a way bigger deal than it is for Kentucky because of the opponent. I think anytime you got a quarterback you're looking on the other side of the field at and you feel like he's back in rhythm and he's throwing the ball for a bunch of touchdowns, leading the SEC in touchdown passes, that's a tall task. And I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm kind of rooting for the Bulldogs here. That wins is just going to look juicier and juicier as they stack up these W's. So
we're trying to put a resume together now.
Yeah, we're trying to put a little resume together. But yeah, I think for Arkansas that's a big deal because I thought going into last season I didn't really believe in KJ and what he kind of accomplished in the SEC. But now looking at that Arkansas team, he's kind of the heart and soul of what they want to do, especially quarterback run game and throwing the ball down the field. So that's a big loss as well.
And Nick took to the podium in Tuscaloosa on Monday, and while I rarely say this, I agreed with what he had to say about their practices this week and his answers in the press conference. I think the way that he did it was unnecessary, but that's the way that he treats people. He's just unpleasant when he feels the need to make a point, and I don't live in that world. I think being unpleasant to anybody at any point is unnecessary. Nick doesn't feel that way, so he does it, but he gets up there and they're asking him, what do you think about, how you're going to operate if you don't have Bryce and you've got to go different ways. And he cut the guy off. He goes, well, you think I'm just going to tell you what we're going to do? Maybe I'll just call Jimbo and say what we're going to do. And it's like, dude, just chill. It'd be okay if you answered the question with, obviously we're evaluating Bryce every day. If he can't play, we've got to go a different direction. And quite frankly, I'm not going to tell you what that is. I understand you've got a job to do and going to ask, but I'm not going to give you that. The tone and the answer can be different. Now, there are so many people listening and go, who cares? Screw the media. They're idiots. They're always trying to incite stuff, and Nick's the greatest coach ever, and he can say whatever he wants. And it's like, fine. I just don't see the need to berate someone whose job is to write a story on the game. The Heisman Trophy winner might not play in the game. Maybe I'll get a comment from the coach on that. That's part of the job. Now, I didn't hear exactly how the question was phrased, so I don't have all the information, but I watched the answer and I watched the tone, and I agree, Nick should not be telling the media what their plan is with the new quarterback, but you can just do it a little bit differently, in my opinion, but he doesn't care about my opinion, so on we go.
Yeah, something about these coaches with skins on the wall, man. Like Nick's, he's got to
we'll
say
talk
what he
about
wants.
Bill in a second because his answer was great.
Yeah, you got Popovich. He's got to say what he wants. You just got to stack those rings up. You can just talk to people and do whatever the heck you want. So I think there's a lot to do with that. If Nick was a struggling coach, bounced from job to job, I don't think he would be talking to the media like that. And for one, he probably wouldn't get away with it for very long. So, yeah, Nick's got to do what he wants. No one's got to talk to that guy. He's like the president of Alabama right now. He's just do what he wants, say what he wants. But, yeah, I think going into this game, if you are A&M, I mean, I don't know if you feel great, but I mean, you definitely don't want to be playing against Bryce Young, and so you kind of.
I'd put A-Chain at quarterback and run the option every play if I was A&M.
Yeah, you definitely got to bring it back to those Wildcat days, Houston Nut days. Just throw that Wildcat back there and just have a blast. But yeah, if you're the Aggies, that's your only slither of hope. You hope Milroe goes out there and throws a bunch of picks, and their offense just looks bad. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Bryce. It didn't look good, falling on the shoulder the way he did. So we'll see if he plays. I doubt that he does.
So the last thing I want to get to before we get to Luke here in 5 minutes is, as I mentioned, Belichick, I thought, had a great answer for the media today. They asked how Mac Jones was, and he said, well, we'll get you that injury report. Just can't wait to get it to you, but we want to make sure it's right. So we want to we'll go out and practice, and we'll get you the injury report. And he stopped. And then the next person said, well, how's Hoyer progressing this week? And he goes, we'll get you the injury report. Make sure it's right. Can't wait to get that to you. And that's what nothing. And that's fine. The NFL has that. They've got an injury report. It's for the gamblers, and they're going to put limited, full, out, the whole thing. And that's great. And if Bill wants to lean on that, I'm all for it. And I'm usually anti the way Bill talks to the media, but that is a perfectly acceptable answer. It's okay for the people to progress, to ask it. They know what they're going to get. But if Bill wants to say, check the injury report, I got no issue with that. That was great to me.
Yeah, no, when you're around Bill outside of the media questions and stuff, he's like that dry sarcasm, and he's just on 10 at all time with the dry sarcasm. So when he gets to the media, it's like they don't understand. He's actually like trolling at a 10. Like, you don't understand. Like, we're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. Like, he's trolling you guys. Like, don't take this guy serious. Like, he
had a smirk on his face when he said, I'll get you the injury report. That's not treating anyone poorly. It's a nice little sound bite. It's good for the TV guys to look at. That one works for me.
No, he's not going to go too crazy. He's never going to yell, raise his voice, or, throw a temper tantrum, slam that Coca-Cola bottle like we've seen Nick do before. No, he's just going to go up there, have a little just have a little sarcasm and keep it going and try to game plan for the game. So, yeah, I'm with Bill on that one.
Oh, man. Old Bill, old Nick, those guys. Not quite wired like Hunt Palmer. That's okay. It's probably why they've won 1 million games. It's just, they have their way of doing things, which is, I don't have anything negative to say about that. We still got a lot to get to here on a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill. Get some early Saints-Seahawks thoughts at 2 o'clock. At 2:15, there's a kind of disturbing trend going on here in college football that I have one bit of a solution for at 2:15. So we'll talk about that, and we always do on Thursdays, our best win and worst loss on the board in the NFL and college football. That'll be at 2:30. But when we come back from this timeout, Luke Johnson back from London talking Saints and Seahawks. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Been telling you all week about our friends at One Bath and Closets. The website is onebathandclosets.com. David Duvall's been in the business for 3 decades, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets, and he's here to help you out. Here, your Hunt and Hill listeners, if you say that Hunt and Hill sent you over to One Bath and Closets, he'll give you 30% off of that closet remodel. Now, they can do this any number of ways. They can help you knock out walls and redesign the whole thing, or they can take what you've got and just help you use your space a little bit more efficiently. Talking about tie racks and some different drawers that you can use. Got shoes all over the floor. Maybe we can fix those up, get those to a little bit more economical use of your space. Or your bathroom. Look, if you are like me, you've got a wife maybe or somebody in your home that's telling you, we got to get new closets. This bathroom's dated. We got to fix this. You don't have to move to fix that problem. One Bath and Closets can help you out. And I can promise you this. They're not going to take any shortcuts. You're not going to see them back in your home 2 or 3 weeks later fixing a problem because they were trying to get out there quickly and get to the next job. Absolutely not. Their motto over there at One Bath and Closets, we'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. So go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. Check out the work that they do. David Duvall is a great, great partner here at Hunt and Hill, and we appreciate you for giving him a call and letting him help you with your bathroom and your closets. One Bath and Closets, the website, onebathandclosets.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Jason Swain joins us to talk Vols. We'll talk Saints with Mike Triplett, Fantasy Blitz, Ryan Clark. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There's a lot of stuff in London. Like, I've never been there, but I mean, Big Ben's there. They got the red buses, Buckingham Palace. There's like some river that's important or something. All I saw on Luke's Twitter feed last week was beers. So maybe he did something else. Luke, how was London? Did you see anything besides pints? Football.
Yeah, I guess you could call it football. No, look, I have to say this, though. I did sample a great many English pints. And I've got to say that, you know, the American style of doing things is a little bit better because the beer is actually carbonated and it's cold here. So I was very excited to get back to cold, bubbly beer.
I support that. All right, before we get to Saints, the game, and this coming week, what was your opinion on the NFL playing in London and in Europe before you went, and did your experience change any feelings you have towards those games?
Well, you know, I think the general opinion still stands, and that it's obviously like a money grab by the NFL, right? I don't think anything was going to change that for me. You know, they're obviously trying to expand their market abroad, try to develop interest. You know, I think it's reasonable to conclude that the NFL is trying to look for, you know, maybe expanding over there. You know, after spending a week over there, I think that'd be pretty tough logistically. I don't really understand how that would be possible. That said, I was really actually impressed by the local fan base there. Obviously, a lot of people traveled from the States to go watch your teams. But yeah, I had a chance to meet a lot of like UK Saints fans out there, and they are just desperate for more. So, I actually came away thinking that maybe the NFL is making some inroads there. And, I would certainly hope I get a chance to go back.
Interesting. He is Luke Johnson of The Advocate, talking Saints here as we do every single Thursday. All right, let's go to the game. The offense just can't get it into gear. Where does most of the blame lie? The injuries, the execution, the quarterback play? Where are you there?
Well, I think the biggest problem for me through 4 games has just been the offense's inability to hold on to the football. Through 4 games, they have a negative 20 scoring margin. They've allowed 33 points off of their 11 turnovers. I don't know that. I don't think the points off turnovers is like an official stat, so I haven't been able to look it up. I can't imagine anybody else is even close to that. The Saints are leading the NFL by a pretty comfortable margin in turnovers. And the 2 that happened on Sunday were pretty crucial in the outcome of the game. They turned it over inside their own 20-yard line late in the half. That gifted the Vikings 3 points. I mean, thankfully the defense held it only to 3, but that's still 3 points. And then they force a 3 and out, and they're getting a punt, and they're about to take over near midfield, and they cough the ball up again, and it's 3 more points. That's 6 points in a game they lost by 3, where they had a chance to tie it up in the last second. So, those mistakes have just loomed large in every single one of their losses. Right? They lost to the Bucs by 10, and I think they gave up 13 points off the turnovers in that game. Same thing with Carolina, where they have a fumble return for a touchdown, and then they ended up losing that game by 8 or 9 points, something like that. So, I think if they can get that to their normal levels, the levels we've seen them operate on for the last decade plus, I think they'll be a competitive football team. That defense is going to keep them in games. I don't think the offense is going to be as stagnant as it has been these first 4 games for the rest of the year. But they got to stop these huge mistakes, because they're absolutely beating themselves right now.
Kirk Cousins finished the game with 273 passing yards, but 147 of those went to Justin Jefferson. Do you think Dennis Allen made a mistake leaving him one-on-one, constantly not sending some safety help over the top with him?
I think probably if you're looking back at it, they could have handled it a little bit differently. I think Justin's an absolute beast, and even though the Saints beast in their own and Marshawn Lattimore, I think it was just evident that he was getting the better of him on a couple routes. And I think at the end of the game, even though you want to trust your guys, leaving them in single coverage out there, the Vikings were looking for that. They wanted to exploit it. And, it came back to kind of bite the Saints at the very end there when they connected on that 39-yard pass on the sideline to set up the go-ahead field goal. So, I think they could have made an adjustment there for sure. But at the same time, it's something that I'm not really super concerned about. Marshawn's had just a fantastic start to this year. I think the Saints' pass defense, generally speaking, has done a very, very good job this season. I think they'll probably have a bounce back this weekend against a pretty good Seattle pass catching core. But Marshawn going up against DK Metcalf, I feel pretty confident in Marshawn in that matchup.
Luke Johnson, our guest from The Advocate, joins us every Thursday here on Hunt and Hill. The consensus I had from my fan friends was that a healthy Dalton looks better than a hobbled Jameis Winston right now. What were your thoughts on that, and kind of looking at a timetable over the next month? What do you expect to see?
First of all, I agree with that. I think as much as the Saints didn't want to talk about how the injury might have been affecting Jameis, I think it pretty clearly was. Andy just kind of came in and just played steady, which I think is all they need, right? Their defense is so good. They just need somebody to come in and just not mess it up. I think it's smart for them after those 2 games where Jameis really struggled when he's playing with a back injury to be like, okay, we know you want to be in there. I'm pretty sure Jameis doesn't want to be Wally Pipped in this situation. That he's got a lot riding on the season.
Right.
But pull him back, let him get healthy, let him get to a point where he's doing things the way he can do them. And I think Andy's going to be able to kind of play competent offensive football at quarterback until that time comes. The risk for that, for Jameis in particular, is if Andy looks a lot better than he did on Sunday, right? And if he comes in and they're going very efficient, and you get some of these weapons back, and the offense starts looking very good, then I think maybe you start having a question there. But I think if he looks the way he did this past week, and that's kind of the player he's been for the last several years, I don't think there's a question that once Jameis is healthy, you go back to him and you see what he can do when he's not dealing with a crippling back injury.
All right, let's move things forward to the Seattle Seahawks in the Dome. The question was done on the morning show this morning, must win. You realize the Bengals are coming in next week, and then you're hitting the road to see Kyler Murray in Arizona. You're looking at the rest of the division. Would you throw must win on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. They could lose this game and still rebound and make the playoffs, right? But I think that it just makes so much harder. Every loss makes that proposition so much more difficult. There's a huge difference between 1-4 and 2-3. Especially at this stage right now where nobody's really separating themselves in the NFC. I think they're kind of lucking out right now where they're not in this giant hole even after this really rough start to the year. But the clock is really ticking on that. And this is a Seahawks team, even though I think they've played above their expectations, that they should be beating. Like, people are wondering how the Saints at 1-3 are a 5.5 point favorite. Well, it's because the Seahawks aren't a very talented football team. They've played better than I think their talent level is through this point of the season. So you have to win games like this, especially with really tough stretch of the schedule coming up. And if the Saints are going to be who we all kind of thought they were, they have to win this game, and they have to start turning things around now because they don't have much more time to get this thing righted.
So many NFL games come down to last possession, and sometimes when that happens, you need your field goal kicker to make a big-time kick. What do you think of Will Lutz this season? He's only making 50% of his field goals for the season.
Yeah, I think he had one really rough game. That game against Carolina, he had the kick he had blocked. And I mean, it was a 30-yard field goal. He kicked that thing into the guy's armpit. That can't be happening. It was concerning to see him miss a couple wide to the right, but I think he was pretty good last week. I think he would have been the first kicker in NFL history to make 2 from 60 yards in a single game. So I'm not really concerned about him. I think we probably should have been expecting a little bit of rust to start the year, but he was really, really good in training camp. He almost connected on 2 really, really difficult kicks Sunday in London. So I'm not really concerned about him going forward. But obviously this is kickers like a zero-sum game. Like you have to be operating at a high level, otherwise it's hard to have confidence in that guy. So I think he's got to have it. He's got to be a little bit more consistent and not have weeks like he did against Carolina. I think he will, but it's something that kind of bears watching.
Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, prospects for them this weekend.
I'm going to say Alvin Kamara is a definite yes.
Okay.
He looks really, really good in practice this week. He said yesterday that he's going to be ready to go, and I believe him on that. Mike Thomas, I think at least one more week and maybe longer. We just don't know much about it. It's really kind of concerning after he has that injury in Carolina, just not see him. So he's one I'm going to be waiting out on a little bit longer.
All right, Luke, we appreciate the time. Enjoy the football this weekend. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
He's on Twitter at Luke Johnson of The Advocate. It just, it sucks. For 2 years now, we've been doing this show, and all we talk about is Michael Thomas going to play? Is Alvin Kamara hurt? What's going on in the secondary? The offensive line, Throckmorton's out. They can't get healthy. And I realize no football team runs through 17 weeks and 18 weeks and feels great the whole time, but, these are the guys. It's not like, your nickelback's a little gimpy. You got Kamara's 40% of the offense, and he's not out there last week, and now he looks like he's going to be a little bit better. Now Michael Thomas hadn't played in 2 years. I mean, it's just these guys are making a ton of money. They're supposed to be huge volume guys, and they've done enough now to backload the wide receiving core where you don't feel as bad as you did last year with Thomas House. But even Jarvis is not all that healthy. He gave it a go last week. It's just disappointing when you look at this team and you're trying to think about what could be or what's going to happen in this game this weekend. And really all you're worried about is, well, who do we have? Who are we playing with?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the talking points or some of the naysayers that talked about this Saints team. Kind of one of the older teams in the league. You got a lot of older guys on this roster. Anytime you have that happening, things that can happen like this. And Mike Thomas, he's played a lot of football. Kamara's played a lot of football. Jarvis has played a lot of football. A lot of these guys have played a lot of football. But I think for the Saints, you couldn't draw up a worse, last season and to start to this season. Because, when you think about a healthy Saints roster with everyone out there, you feel like that team should at least beat the bad teams in the league, and who knows what happens, when you're playing a good NFL team. But losing to the Panthers in the fashion that they did, I don't think anyone expected that. So for the Saints, they got to get healthy, got to get some guys back. Obviously, Jameis is a big part of that. But, yeah, I don't think anyone thought they'd be this banged up to this point in the season.
More thoughts on Saints Seahawks coming up in 15 minutes. But before we go to the top of the hour break, I've got to apologize for something I said earlier this week. I'll tell you what next. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Yeah, football season is underway, so now it's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code 1045 ESPN.
They can help you out with the odds boosted. They got odds boosted for tonight's Thursday night football between the Colts and Broncos. Look, if the Colts cover 10.5, Jelani Wood scores a touchdown. Naheem Hines has 40-plus rushing yards. Plus 2,000 on that. Get this no-sweat first bet. Chunk some money at it. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Sign up today with the promo code 1045ESPN for that no-sweat first bet. That's promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues and non-withdrawable free bet that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Miller Lite has more taste and only one more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted.
With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College.
Enroll today for a better life.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shop style. Oh, yeah!
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage.
Jimmy Ott and Charles Henegriff for the Thursday evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're downtown at Jolly Pearl Oyster Bar on north facing Town Square. Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Earlier this week, I said basically, Wisconsin, you're firing Paul Chryst. He's won the division 3 times. He's been to 3 New Year's Six Bowls, won the Rose Bowl. Like, who do you think you are? He's winning 9 games a year. Who do you think you are? Got to issue a bit of an apology to the brass at Wisconsin based on this finding from The Athletic today. Stuart Mandel has a story on The Athletic, and there's a story about Jimmy Rolder, who was a 6'2", 220-pound linebacker from Chicago. And he visited Wisconsin for a game last year. One of these diamonds in the rough that Wisconsin tends to find. He came up for a game, and here's the quote, "No one talked to him," said one source with direct knowledge of Wisconsin's recruiting operations. No one knew who he was or anything about him. By December, Rolder had blossomed into a 4-star prospect. He signed with Michigan, where he's become a key contributor as a freshman. Quote, "The lack of a recruiting department hurt heavily," another source familiar with Wisconsin's recruiting. "They probably would have had Jimmy Rolder." Mandel says in his story that Paul Chryst went 8 months without a recruiting department last year. That's like having a restaurant with no kitchen. People are just going to show up and look around? What on earth that's the number one job of the coach. You know, who's the greatest X's and O coach who ever lived? Bill Walsh? Bill Belichick? If they don't have any players, their unit's probably not going to be very good. No recruiting department, you're fired. Peace.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Yeah. No, that's absolutely, that's asinine right there. I think, you know, you're repping that red brand, that Wisconsin brand. We have our brand. We know what to do. Got to run it down your throat. Got to play tough defense. Yeah, it's not enough in this day and age, man, especially with NIL coming around and just the landscape of college football. You're looking at those teams that you may beat some years. You're looking at Ohio State. You think Ohio State would go a year without a recruiting department. Like, it seems like a joke. Like, is this, like, real? Like, did he really, like, there's no recruit? Like, how do they get players to come to their school? Like, how do you set up official visits? How do you get players to campus? Like, well, what are we talking about here? Like, it has to be a joke. There's no way he was a head coach with nothing. Like, yeah, there'd be something there.
Georgia spends $4 million a year on recruiting. Bama spends $3 million. Wisconsin gonna coach them up. Gonna get them in. Gonna coach them up. How are you gonna get them in? You have a recruiting department. There's a whole group, for those that don't know, and Jeremy, you certainly went through this, of hosts and secretaries that are scheduling things and putting tours together and making sure everybody's got their name tags and greeting and setting up reservations at restaurants and flights and everything that's got to go on. Now, this was clearly an unofficial visit, but to determine that there was no recruiting department, this is not like let's get a couple people together on Saturday to make sure everything goes okay. This is a full-time job. This is $1 million plus operation for everyone who's anyone. And Wisconsin, certainly anyone. This is one of the most jarring things I've read in weeks, that they just didn't have one. And it lends itself to be true when you realize they're winning lots of games, and Paul Chryst got told, you're out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on 247 looking at some of their rankings, 46, 38, 46. Like, they have one year where I think it's 2020, where they were 16, but everyone else, it's like you're beyond 38 and beyond that. So that would explain a lot. And, you know, obviously earlier 2000s, like 2010, 11, whatever, they had a lot bigger pulse, and, you know, they were challenging and getting to Rose Bowls and everything of that nature. But recent history, these recruiting classes have been bad. And, you know, if you want to win, we know that's the heart and soul of your program. You got to get the Joes in there, and Jimmy and the Joes. So, Yeah, I can definitely see that. I know, it was one of those situations where you thought he had a Kirk Ferentz situation. I think Kirk has a recruiting
They
department.
probably got somebody answering the phone, maybe giving the recruits a name tag. Here, come over here. Here's the buffet table. We'll take a picture here. You can go sit right here at the game. They probably got somebody in charge of that. That is egregious. And, apparently Paul Chris is a real old school guy. The offense is a little bit dated. We know that, but it's kind of been what Wisconsin's done forever and ever. And I've always thought he's a pretty good coach. They did a pretty good job at Pitt before they brought him back over there. But, man, you talk about dropping the ball and not understanding what is important in college football and just think you'll go grab a bunch of 3-stars, get them in the weight room, coach them up, and go beat Ohio State. I got news for you, boss. That ain't it. And to not have anybody in charge of that and to have an eventual 4-star recruit show up and have nobody there to talk to him, that's malpractice. So my apologies to Nebraska, Wisconsin. I was wrong earlier this week. You got to pay him that buyout and kick him out the door, or you got to get somebody in there that knows what the heck they got going on. That'll do it for hour number 1 here on a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill. Disturbing trend in college football we're going to get to in about 20 minutes, and our best win, worst loss on the board for the NFL and college football. When we come back, a little Saints-Seahawks preview. It's a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Week 5 in the NFL kicks off tonight with the Broncos hosting the Colts at Mile High. ESPN's Dan Graziano says the Broncos haven't been able to count on their running game while new quarterback Russell Wilson settles in.
They can't really rely on that in the short term while they get everything put together. And I think when you trade for Russell Wilson and you sign him to a high-end quarterback contract, you expect you're getting someone who will elevate the group around him.
Dan Graziano on Get Up. The New York Giants are planning to sign veteran linebacker Landon Collins to the practice squad. He played the last 3 years for the Commanders. ESPN's Pete Thamel reports Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is expected to start against Oklahoma Saturday. Ewers has been out for almost a month with a shoulder injury. He got hurt against Alabama. Brazil is the top-ranked team leading into the World Cup. In the new FIFA rankings, Belgium is still ranked second, followed by Argentina and France. The U.S. is ranked 16th and will play in the toughest group in Qatar.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I just don't want Mitchell Trubisky on our team. I don't know what it is. This is personal for me. It's fine. I'm allowed to have feelings and emotions.
It's Friday with Key, J, and Max. It all starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. 1, 2, 3.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Thursday, Hunt and Hill. Hope your Thursday is getting along beautifully. We're getting close to the weekend. Congratulations to Adam Starnes of Denham Springs. Adam's our Week 5 winner in the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em. He wins $50 to Twin Peaks. Don't forget, make your picks for Week 6 by 5 p.m. today. Play the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em today at 1045ESPN.com. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill with you here. Got our best win and worst loss on the board in college football and the NFL coming up in 30 minutes. But wanted to start here. Little Saints and Seahawks early thoughts. This was something the morning show talked about this morning. I asked Luke. He gave his answer. I'll give you, is this a must-win for the Saints to avoid going to 1-4?
I hate saying that. It's so overblown in sports, but for the Saints, yes.
Yes, it is. That's 4 out of 4. I haven't answered yet. That's 4 out of 4 to this point that has said it's a must-win.
Yeah, you can't start 1-5. That's when those, like I always talk about, that's when those thoughts start creeping in your head. Like, man, are we bad? Like, can we turn this around? And then you start a game bad, you have a turnover, and it's like, yeah, like we actually are bad. This is going to be very tough to deal with. And so you felt like you lost to a very, very bad Panthers team, and you had some losses like the heartbreaking losses last week to the Vikings, and then you build that up. It's just not a way you want to start the season, especially when there's just so much talent on this roster. I know a lot of those guys in and out of the lineup, you're not your full squad week in and week out, but you lose to the Seattle team. When I have to agree with Luke, it's like Geno Smith, like he's playing well right now, but you look at that roster top to bottom, it's like you got DK, you got Lockett, and then like the offensive line isn't world beaters, defense isn't world beaters, you're missing Jamal Adams. It's like you're at home, you got to find a way to win this football game.
Whenever I say must win, like I need to mean it as a must win. Like when LSU, it's a playoff game, but if you're playing a game in a regional against Southern Miss on a Monday that's a must win. This is not a must win to me. They need to win. If they don't, they're in huge trouble, and the margin for error is tiny, and it's reasonable to believe that if you've lost to Carolina and you've lost at home to Seattle, that you're not very good. But the season's not over if you start 1-4. That to me is a little much. So I won't say that it's a must-win, but they need to win it because it doesn't get much easier. As we mentioned, the Bengals come in next week. You're headed to Arizona the week after that. But the division is not looking very good. Tampa's had its struggles. Now Tom's banged up. He missed practice yesterday. What does the future hold for them? Coming off a loss. What do you think about, do you think Atlanta's good? They've played tough. They should have beaten the Saints. They went out west and beat Seattle. They fought tooth and nail with the Rams. Okay. Carolina's not any good. So the division hasn't left you in the dust. You're not looking across at a team that looks like the Chiefs have looked or like the Eagles have looked that you feel like it's just going to leave you in the dust. Yeah, it would help them a lot if they won this game. And if they lose this game, they're in big trouble. But it's not must win because it's not literally a must win. That's kind of the way that I see it. Now, this Seahawks team lost once week one in that big Russell Wilson return to Seattle. They won 17-16. Emotional game for them, for Pete Carroll, for the whole fan base there. Then they go to San Francisco and get trounced 27-7, the final from Levi. Then they lost to Atlanta 27-23 up in Seattle, and then we saw the shootout in Detroit last week 48-45. So they're 2-2. In my opinion, as of a month ago, they weren't even trying. Now, they're pros, and they've got a good coach, and they've put together some solid weeks. But, what do you make of this Seahawks team right now?
Yeah, I think there's a scrappy bunch, and I think anytime you're a well-coached football team, you're going to be in position to win football games. It'll be up to the players to kind of go out there and execute and do that. So, yeah, Pete Carroll's going to be a happy-go-lucky guy. He's going to have those guys fired up to play, and they're going to scrap. They're not going to quit. They're not going to fold, and they do have two solid weapons on the outside, and I think DK is making a case that he's a top 10 receiver right now with the season he's having. So, yeah, this is not a team that, you think, oh, they lost Russell Wilson, we're going to blow them out by double digits. We're going to see easy win at home. I think this is going to be a very, very close, tight football game. So it'll be up to the quarterbacks to not turn it over. But I hate to go back to this last point, but I actually, if you're interested in this, since 1978, teams who started 1-4, how many of them do you think make the playoffs?
1.
7. So I guess it's not the worst.
It was so bad last week when we were talking about whoever it was. I had to jack down my expectation.
Yeah, 7.
7. So yeah, it can be done. And we got an extra game to play with now. So there you go. Statistically, Geno's 77% completion. The Lions are awful on defense, so that's helping him there. 260 yards per game, so it's not Mahomesian or Bradyian. He's just getting the ball out, getting to where it needs to go. He's a veteran at this point. He has sat for 5 years, really, looking at starting quarterbacks to this point. 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. The stat that I didn't realize, and not that I'm locked into every Seahawks game, but try to pay attention to box scores and kind of who's playing well, what's going on, injuries and whatnot. I didn't realize Rashad Penny was averaging 6 yards a carry. Not that they're featuring him a ton. They're not giving him the ball at a huge workload. 6 yards a carry is 6 yards a carry, though.
It's impressive. And I think a big part of that is going against that bad Lions defense. I know Dan Campbell, just that grit, that dog.
Kneecaps. We're going to bite your kneecaps.
Yeah, but that defense is really, really bad. And they took full advantage of that. He had a phenomenal game against them. I'm sure the fantasy owners are just loving every second of that. But I think those stats have a big part to do with that. I think this Saints rush defense is nowhere remotely close to what he had to deal with last week with the Lions. It's going to be a lot more difficult to average 6 yards a pop against his Saints rushing defense and what they can do stopping the run. So, yeah, he's having a good season right now, but I think a big part of that was the Lions game.
So you look at this offense for Seattle, which is what we've been talking about here. They're 12th in the NFL in passing yards, 13th in rushing yards, 10th in total yards. Middle of the pack, kind of across the way, a little bit better than middle of the pack. One thing, if I want to feed the conspiracy theorists, if I want the Saints fans who are grumpy with this entire thing and want to give you something to chew on here, I will. The Seahawks have the 3rd most penalties in the NFL through a month, and they're 2nd most to the Saints in penalty yards. So if the Seahawks play a game and they only have like 2 penalties in this one, you can add that as fuel to the fire. The NFL hates the Saints, and they're rigging the thing with the refs against the Saints because the Seahawks have been penalized just about as much as the Saints to this point.
Yeah, I mean, so I just never been that person. I know there's some times the refs you get a bad break, but sometimes you do get the good call on your side. It's just kind of luck when it comes to that. But it seems for Saints that they've kind of got the bad break more times than not. So I can see why some people may have a grudge with that. But yeah, in this one, I think aggressive football teams, they normally tend to get penalized more. That's kind of what you think with the Saints' aggressive defense, and I think Seattle's kind of coached that same way. So you're going to see penalties and. Hopefully for the Saints, you don't kind of lose that penalty battle, because it just seems like week in and week out, they just kind of get those bad breaks.
Now, we've framed this entire segment around the Seattle offense against the Saints defense. I don't think anyone here believes that to be the most important matchup on the field. The Saints have to find some way to control the football, to pick up first downs, to stop turning it over, and to score points. And to this point, they just have not been able to. They're among the least productive offenses in the NFL to this point in terms of across the board. Passing, running, points, first half, everything you look at statistically, the Saints are a disaster offensively. And I thought it looked a little bit better in spots last week with Andy out there. With Kamara, you would imagine it would take a step forward, and you're playing a bad defense. If they come out and don't play well on Saturday, I guess you could try to grab a straw and say, oh, maybe a little jet lag coming back from London is tough. But essentially what you would say, if they come out and score 13, 17 points in this game, they stink on offense. That's it, if they can't go out there and score.
Yeah, no, I mean, you just saw them give up so many points last week to that Lions team.
42.
Yeah, so it's like
45, sorry.
Yeah, you got to figure out a way to score on this defense. They're just not talented. They don't have the guys on the outside. They don't have an elite, crazy pass rush where you're like, oh, man, how are we going to block Michael Parsons this week? How are we going to block Von Miller? They don't have those guys. And they lost Bobby Wagner. They don't have the linebackers. It's just they just don't have the talent level that you would think. But they're, well, like I said before, they're a world-class football team. They'll play hard. But if you're a Saints team who I think you just have a better roster, you should be able to find a way to win this game. I'm not saying beat them by double digits or go dominate the football game, but you should be able to slow down Geno a little bit, stop their run game, and find a way to win.
You would think, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, specifically tomorrow, how about Brew at the Zoo? This Friday, the Baton Rouge Zoo Foundation hosting its 8th annual Brew at the Zoo, coming out to the zoo from 7 to 10 p.m., dozens of craft beers there for you craft beer drinkers. There's going to be food from local vendors all over the place and some great live music from Abby Lee over there at 100.7 The Tiger. So you can purchase your tickets today at brzoobrew.org. That's brzoobrew.org. Brew at the Zoo tomorrow night should be an enjoyable time for all those involved. When we come back, disturbing trend in college football. It struck Notre Dame today. We'll tell you what that is. Get Jeremy's thoughts and mine as well. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Start NFL Week 4 off right with the No Sweat Same Game Parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night Same Game Parlay doesn't hit. NFL Same Game Parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance for an even bigger payday.
Sure can. Tonight you got Colts and Broncos. They got anytime touchdown scorer bets. Melvin Gordon plus 120, Cortland Sutton plus 150, Naheem Hines plus 190. You want to pair those together, you can turn that small bet into a big, big payday. Build your own same-game parlay or use one of the popular ones pre-built in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN if you don't already have an account. If you already do have an account, you're all set. Just sign in and see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. 3 legs. Minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable free bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at Revelry.
On Friday's OTB, kicking off Football Friday, getting ready for a couple of big-time midday matchups. Tennessee LSU, Saint Seahawks in the Dome on Sunday. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Some breaking news in the Southeastern Conference we'll get to here in about 15 seconds. But first, let's tell you about Folds of Honor. 104.5 ESPN and Acura of Baton Rouge ask for your support in helping us raise money for Folds of Honor. It's a nonprofit organization which provides families of fallen or disabled service members educational scholarships. Donate to this important cause. Visit our website, 1045ESPN.com. This week, everyone who makes a donation is going to be entered to win tickets to see Judas Priest at the Raising Cane's River Center on November the 18th. Donate now, 1045ESPN.com from Acura of Baton Rouge and 1045 ESPN. Reporting coming out from Ian Fitzsimmons of ESPN and backed up by Billy Lucci of Tex Ags, who knows all over there. Max Johnson's got a broken hand and may not play again this season, at least won't for the foreseeable future. That means saddle up and ride Mr. Haynes King.
Oh, yeah, man. This is just going to be some glorious, when I say Tiger fans, glorious football to watch. You just want to see just the most amazing football you've ever seen. Get your popcorn, get a nice beverage. Just cut on the Aggies this Saturday, next month. Like, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be just amazing to watch. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be just glorious. I just can't wait. I'm licking my chops right now.
Let me look at their schedule. Obviously, we know they have Bama this weekend, and I have my thoughts on that when it comes to this question. But what is after Alabama? I'm pulling up right now. They're not gonna baptize Connor Wegman in Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's not going to happen. This is Haynes King's game, and he's got to play it. But the question is, do they go to the five-star freshman at some point in the season? They've got Bama. Then they've got a bye. Then they're at South Carolina, home Ole Miss, home Florida.
I don't see the Ole Miss game either. Don't see on the road.
You don't see home Ole Miss? If things go very poorly in Tuscaloosa, which we imagine they probably will, and they go to South Carolina and the defense gets it done and they win 20-7 or something, and King throws 2 picks, because South Carolina's terrible. I mean, if they lose, this discussion gets a little easier. But I think Ole Miss at home is a little more comfy than South Carolina on the road, even though South Carolina is not as good. Ole Miss's defense has been pretty good.
Yeah, only thing I see is if Ole Miss is trotting in there, it's the number 10 team in the country, number 11 team in the country. Are you going to throw them in there in that fire? That's a big-time fire, man. That's a lot of lights. That's a lot of eyeballs. That's a lot of pressure to put on a freshman quarterback. And we've seen it time and time again. You can ruin a young quarterback, and I just don't see it. I could see who's there late in the season non-conference?
Here's how that's next.
Yeah.
If you just let Haynes King ride and it's not very good and you're losing games, they play UMass on November 19th, right before LSU. Now, Wegman's going to play in that game no matter what if Max is out because he can still redshirt playing in that game. There's no reason not to put him out there if you're up 41-7 in the third quarter or whatever it is because they're UMass. But if Wegman plays good against UMass, do you play him against LSU? Now that hits home.
I want to see that. Yeah, put that guy out there. Let me see Harold Perkins over here, BJ on that side. Let me put Ali Gay at the 3 tech. Let me keep Quaylen Roy in the middle. And let's have fun. Let's just see where that plays out for the Aggies. You got Noah Nia-Smith on the outside. Your running back's probably 5'8", 180 pounds soaking wet. Yeah, I would love to see that. Let's do it. And wait, the best part, Jimbo's calling plays.
Yeah, well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not great in Aggie land, which is a good thing. All right, disturbing trend in college football. I wanted Jeremy's thoughts on this. Earlier this week, a bunch of SMU players, a handful, shut it down. They've got some losses. They're going to use that 4-game red shirt and transfer without penalty. And that's starting to happen a little bit more. It happened today to Notre Dame. They had a defensive lineman that's got 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. They've lost a couple of games. They're 4 games in. He's out of here. Yep. I'm torn on this. So many people they look at it only from their side. They want it the way it was. No transfer without penalty. Don't pay any of the athletes. Take your education. Play. That's it. And, okay, I hear that. And then there's some people that say player empowerment. The coaches all do it. It's the player's turn. And I listen to both sides, and I go, I'm not really on either one of your sides. I just want some reasonable things that appear to me to be good for the sport. This whole thing, if we've lost 2 games in September, I'm out of here. That stinks, man. That is not good for anybody. And the only thing I can think of that fixes this, that's not throwing massive restrictions on people, is we expand the playoff. Hey, LSU, you've lost 2 games? That's all right. We got a 12-team playoff here. Go out there the next week and win your ball game. You finish strong and you beat Alabama and you beat A&M and you beat Ole Miss. You're right there in the mix. And that's not the case for SMU at the same time, but it sure is the case for Notre Dame. And now they got guys who are saying, yeah, I didn't sign up really for this coach, and we've lost a couple games. We're not going to the playoff. I'm out of here. That's not good. I can't have mass quitting to redshirt and transfer every time somebody loses 2 games. That I can't have.
I mean, talk about opening Pandora's box. I think you're seeing that on full display with kind of what they've opened up in the transfer portal. And to me, I feel like there should be some sort of restriction. I know that's so dangerous to say, but then maybe there's a board. Maybe there's a group of people that kind of, evaluate and look at some of these guys in the portal. There has to be a legitimate reason. And I think a lot of these cases, the reasons just aren't legitimate. I'm not playing. The coach doesn't like me. This, whatever. And it's like, that's just not real life, man. Like, you got to get in the real world, and having that mentality, it's just, I don't think that's beneficial for anybody. So it's just creating a slippery slope that some of these kids are, they're going to jump on it because it's easy to do. You don't have to battle. You don't have to fight. You don't have to show any perseverance. There's no adversity to overcome. And to me, that's dangerous. Like, I hate to be that old guy on the porch, but it's like, you made your decision to go to your school. You're not leaving. And if you want to leave, hey, go down to a Division II school. And if you really want to leave that bad, like to think that, you're going to start here one year, things go bad, and hey, well, I guess I can just go start for USC now, or I guess I can just go start. And it's just, life just doesn't work that way. But that's the landscape of college football right
I'll
now.
play devil's advocate. I don't believe what I'm saying, but it is the argument that you see on Twitter all the time. Well, the coaches do it. Brian Kelly's team could have made the playoff last year, and he just up and left his whole team, went to LSU. The coaches do it. Why can't the players do it? That's the argument on the other side.
Yeah, and I get that. But also these coaches, I mean, they're not 17, 18, 19-year-old kids. They've been in the game, most of these guys, for a very long time. So And also, too, I think most of these guys are upgrading. They're not leaving and taking less money. They're taking a pay raise and job and a better situation. If you can point to some guys that, left big-time situations and took a pay cut and went to a worse school, then, let me have it. But I think in life, we want to go up the ladder, and I think that's what these coaches are doing.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I can play stupid devil's advocate. Daniel Holgerson was sick of West Virginia. He went to Houston because he liked it there better. Trent Johnson knew he was going to get fired here, so he left and went to TCU. But your point is very well made. That's certainly the truth. And it goes back to, I can't remember who made this point, and we didn't prep as much for this segment. It came up late, but somebody said they get all the good and none of the bad that comes with it, because in the it was Lane Kiffin that said this. In the pros, you have a contract, and you have to live up to the contract and play for it. In college, I quit, I'm out, and you don't have to deal with any of the requirements that are involved. And there's a lot of different hoops that make college football different from the pros. You got to go to class. There's a whole different deal. But that bums me out that and this is from the fans' perspective, not from the players' perspective, and that's a whole different thing, that we're going to live in a world here where guys are just going to quit 4 games in because can't really win anything, and I can transfer next year without penalty, and I got to keep my red shirt. So, and then all of a sudden you got compromised teams everywhere, and then we had to play them when they had all their guys in September, and you got to play them in November, and they didn't have anybody left. That's not good. No matter how you want to slice it, it's not good. And the person who does say it's good would say, players' rights. They've been taken advantage of for years and years and years. They can do whatever they want. It's their life. Just let them go. I don't think just having no rules for anyone ever and just do anything you want is a great practice in anything that we do. It's just not, as you said, it's not the real world.
Yeah, it's not. And I think you do have to honor a contract. And for these players, you sign that national letter of intent. You're telling the school, hey, I'm providing my athletic services to this university. And it just seems like, what's the point of doing that? Like, why do we even have a signing day? Let's just let guys show up and leave whenever they want. It's just nothing.
Wisconsin may not know they showed up, so we can't do that.
Exactly. I know what keeping track. And picking the apartments where they're going. Hey, you guys, just have fun on campus, figure it out. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I think it's just only going to get worse. Like, do you think this is going to go the other way? Like, you know what? These kids are going to suddenly be loyal to their schools, and things aren't going right. They're going to ballot out or start. No, it's just going to get worse.
They can get a waiver immediately when they transfer for the second time. Who's the quarterback that I've forgotten by now? He went to Bishop Gorman, then he went to Ohio State and Miami. Tate Martell.
We just saw the basketball player go in the transfer portal 6 times last year. That was a take it or leave it question. Transfer portal 6 times. That's what we are dealing with right now. It's just crazy.
And we thought, we got this problem solved. We'll just shrink the window of the transfer portal. You can only transfer or enter your name in the portal right then. Well, we'll just wait to do it. I'm out of here. I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, it's bad. And I think that kind of started with the whole, Christian McCaffrey, Leonard thing, and you saw the NFL not really, make a big deal about that. And it kind of just, like I said, opens Pandora's box. Well, like bowl game, I don't want to play in the bowl game. And then it just started getting worse and worse and worse. And now we got 2 games. All right, I'm out. Right, cool, I'm done.
And I think for me, I talked about this last week. We did these personality tests through Enneagram here at Guarantee. And I'm a number 9, and part of the thing on number 9 is that they generally see things from in a talk show host. It's probably more compelling radio if you take one side and you're wrong, and the other side you're right, the other side's wrong, and you just hammer it home, and that's the way you feel. And sometimes I do feel that way, but in this way, I understand that there are I disagree. No, I agreed with the fact that I didn't think Garrett Nussmeier was obligated to play in the bowl game last year and burn a year of his eligibility to go play with 38 guys in the Texas Bowl. And that's essentially on a lower level what these guys are doing here. I'm not going to burn a year of my eligibility to play with these guys. And I said I wasn't mad at Garrett Nussmeier for that, and it's the same type of thing. So again, I'm seeing both sides of it, but if this is if the worst thing that happens is that a couple guys decide not to play in the Texas Bowl, I'll live. Mm-hmm. If the worst thing that happens is 15 guys on a team this guy played for Notre Dame, has TFL sacks for Notre Dame early in the season. If we got 7 guys who bail on 35% of the teams at the end of September, I'm not okay with that. I'm okay with Garrett not playing against Texas Tech with 38 guys. I'm not okay with 15 guys quitting a fourth of the way through the season.
Yeah, and I think the NCAA has kind of added fuel to the fire. They're throwing wood, they're chunking wood. Now what you're saying is, well, you lose the guys in the transfer portal. Well, you can replace them now. And so it's like it's encouraging this behavior. Well, I can leave. You can just replace me. It's no big deal.
Not in October.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then also, too, with the whole scholarship thing, now it's like, okay, well, I can leave. They're just going to sign an extra freshman to come in the class. So it's not that big of a deal. And it's just only going to get worse. I don't see this thing slowing down or changing. It's just kind of something we're going to have to deal with. And I love the suggestion in the Bayou for chat. Someone saying just allow transfers if you lose your head coach or your head coach gets fired. I think that would slow down this a ton. If you still got the guy that recruited you there and, you signed a national letter of intent to go play for that guy and he's still there, like, why else are you transferring? Like, there has to be something. And I think for so many of these kids, it's just things that just aren't really enough reasons to uplift and leave these universities because you don't like how much playing time you get or you're not making the college football playoff. It's just, you got to deal with it. That's just something you got to deal with.
And we can go round and round. I mean, in that vein, we'll leave it at this. Like, yeah, I got you. But what if I'm a quarterback and I signed up to play for Cliff Kingsbury and he left and they hired Paul Christ to come in and run two tights and now there's every situation's different. It's a slippery slope. There is one thing I know is there's no perfect solution here. But I'm uncomfortable with a bunch of guys quitting on October 1st because you can redshirt and keep playing. But it's such is life at this point. When we come back, best win and worst loss on the board in the NFL and college football. Got some SEC flavor in the college side of things. So we'll do that next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. With Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal. They are monthly elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. All October long, we're telling you about Fresh Junkie Racing.
Yeah, Fresh Junkie Racing is a group of racing enthusiasts that have taken their love of running and built a business providing citizens across the state a way to get moving and stay moving. Created by athletes for athletes, Fresh Junkie Racing hosts world-class road racing events and triathlons right here in Louisiana, welcoming crowds from across the globe to experience this place we call home.
Yeah, Fresh Junkie Racing is committed to celebrating Louisiana's rich traditions with a little bit of a healthier spin than maybe we do all the time. Obviously, we love our food down here, and Fresh Junkie does as well, but they're helping people get fit by running. And they've got a lot of events coming up. The Huey P. Long Bridge Run is coming up next Saturday, October the 15th. Baton Rouge Turkey Trot, also the Tammany Turkey Trot on Thanksgiving Day. So if you want to get involved in those, you certainly can. They have 18 events every single year, and the Louisiana Marathon alone contributes $5.2 million to Louisiana's economy, which is an unbelievable thing, helping the economy, helping Louisianians and those who come and participate in their races stay fit. Fresh Junkie Racing, truly a champion of Louisiana. If you know a champion of Louisiana and you want them to have their story told right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, go to lwcc.com/Louisiana Loyal. Nominate them to be a champion of Louisiana. We do another one each and every month. This month, so proud to tell you about Fresh Junkie Racing. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at Running Boards.
Week 6 in the prep football season, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic High and Liberty kick off at 7, immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We got tickets. Tickets for Saturday. You want tickets for Saturday? Saturday night. Mid-South Arena Cross, the greatest arena cross in the South, and SSR present the Battle in the Bayou. Bring the kids to this exhilarating, family-friendly event Saturday, October the 8th. That is this Saturday at Lamar Dixon out in Gonzales. It all goes down at 7 p.m. You can register to win an SSR pit bike. For full schedule, visit MidSouthArenaCross.com. Brought to you by SSR and Ascension Parish Tourism Commission. If you want to go to Mid-South Arena Cross, I have got 2 tickets. They got your name on them. Just got to give me a phone call. I'll give Casey a phone call at 499-1045. First caller at 499-1045 wins 2 tickets to Mid-South Arena Cross this Saturday night at 7 p.m. All right, Jeremy, we do it every time. Every week at this time, best win on the board, worst loss on the board in college football and in the NFL. We'll start in college football. Best win on the board in college football for me, and you know the old saying, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? It probably does, but no one knows because we're not there. If UCLA goes undefeated in the Pac-12 and no one's in the Rose Bowl to see it, does it really happen? Bruins got a big win against Washington last week, 40-32. They are 5-0. They're cooking, and Utah's coming to the Rose Bowl this weekend. Utah, of course, got that one loss over there in Florida. This is a 2:30 kick on Fox. If UCLA can beat Utah, that'll be back-to-back top 20 wins. You got to go to Oregon next week, which is not going to be easy, but you got Dorian Thompson-Robinson back. He's playing good football for the 413th year in a row at UCLA. I'm not saying I'm picking them to go undefeated, but look, they're 5-0 right now, beat a good Washington team last week, and they're at home against Utah. Huge win for UCLA. No one will care if they win, but it would be a huge win for them if they could do it. I think that's the biggest win on the board for me.
I probably got like an extra 10 minutes of sleep last night watching DTR because it's just like he's just a little bit better knowing he's like has a pulse. He can do a little something, make a little something happen. Played big last week. So, yeah, if UCLA can come out on top against this Utah team, I think everyone just about picked to win the Pac-12. That'd be a huge one for them. For me, I got TCU at Kansas, and for me, the Jayhawks, man. Who would have thought the Jayhawks would be in a position to start this season undefeated and really kind of take college football by storm? You know, you're looking at that game last week. I've never seen a Kansas Jayhawk football game packed to capacity. That was a very strange thing to see.
Went around for that 07 team.
Yeah.
Todd Reesing.
Yeah, I think
Aqib Talib was on that team.
Yeah, cornerback on that team. Yeah, but yeah, so I think for you could make that case for TCU, but I think for Kansas, just for the national narrative, that would be a huge win for them to start this season 6-0. and really kind of change what people kind of think of that football program right now.
See if Lance Leopold gets a call from Wisconsin here in the coming days. Worst loss on the board in college football. To me, Kentucky's without their quarterback. You just lost to Ole Miss. Coming up, you got a home game against Mississippi State, and you're at Tennessee. You still haven't played Georgia yet. You really thought this program was gaining a lot of steam, and then you lost last week, and you feel like there are a lot of losses that could be coming quickly. You don't need to lose to South Carolina. Mm-hmm. You really don't need to lose to South Carolina if you're Kentucky. Now, I get it because you realize that your quarterback's not there, so things can be a little bit more difficult, but you're at home. You're a 6-point favorite. You need to take care of business before a really brutal 5-week stretch comes up. So I got the worst loss on the board, Kentucky at home against South Carolina.
Yeah, that South Carolina program is just they took a big step back. I thought they had some wins last year where they kind of snuck up on some people, and then you get the bullseye put on your back. What are you going to do? And I think they've totally fallen short this year. I know beating Georgia is a whole different animal, but they just haven't played well all season. So, yeah, Kentucky, ranked team, you feel great about their coaching staff even without the quarterback. Yeah, they should be able to beat South Carolina. I'm just going to just keep pounding down on the Aggies, man, as much as I can. Alabama, you cannot lose to the worst team in the SEC West. I don't care if Auburn stinks. A&M is the worst team in the SEC West.
With Haynes King, they may be. I can't rule it out.
Yes. I mean, Ashford at least showed me a little something last week. Like, no, you didn't score a single point in the second half, but I'm just going there. Yeah, and you can't lose to this team. Like, you just cannot lose to this team. And I think it's a huge drop-off if you're A&M with the quarterback situation. Bryce Young is just phenomenal. He's 9 yards, a completion. Milroe last week, he's only at 5. So that passing attack with the receivers on the outside who I don't love, it's just not the same without the Heisman winner back there at quarterback. I think this is a big-time Jahmyr Gibbs game. And thinking of A&M, I thought, that defense is pretty – no, they're not good either.
They're not stopping the run.
They're not stopping the run either. And now you got a dual-threat quarterback in Gibbs, so I think it's coming into form right now with this Alabama offense. If you're Alabama, there's no way you can lose to this Texas A&M football team.
Let's go to the NFL slate. I've got best win on the board. The Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, Mr. Sharp.
You're 3-1. Dak's not playing. The defense looks good. You go out and beat the Super Bowl champs on the road?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good to me. I mean, Taylor Sharp, do the boys have a chance this weekend?
Yeah, I think they do, just because Cooper Rush hasn't turned the ball over, and that defense has proven that they can get turnovers, and turnover battle wins games, gentlemen, so they got a shot.
That pass rush is legit. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And if they can get after Stafford a little bit, that would be huge if the Cowboys could move to 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford's been sacked the second most in the NFL, and only Carson Wentz is behind him. So, yeah, that kind of lets you know the party he's keeping right now. Not great party that you want to be in hanging out with Mr. Wentz. So, yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know if Taylor will be just, undeal with. Are we going to be able to deal with Mr. Sharp if his Cowboys get off to a storming start to the season?
I'm here to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind because we know what's going to happen at the end of the year. So, it's kind of like a movie we've seen 100 times.
Nice. That's not very nice.
So, yeah. Sorry, my bad. All right, but, yeah, so I'll keep it in. I'll keep it in the NFC East for best win. I got the Giants going to the Packers.
I looked at that one.
Yeah, so I think for the Giants, they had that great start to the season, and then it's like, okay, yeah, they're the Giants. They're going to lose to the Cowboys. They're not very good, and then they bounce back again against your favorite quarterback, Mr. Fields. So, but I think this game, yeah. So this game, yeah, if you go to Green Bay and beat the Packers and start this season 4-1. I mean, you're going to be right there, right behind the Eagles and the Cowboys, and right in that division, right in the thick of things. And, that type of confidence you get for a locker room, it permeates. Guys start feeling like they can go do something special, and it just creates a different type of lock-in ability for the players on that team. So, yeah, I think for Danny Dimes and the crew, they can go up to Green Bay win. I think that's definitely the best win of the week.
Aaron Rodgers said yesterday, or whatever it was this week when they have availability, I saw it on TV, he says the way we're winning right now is not sustainable. We're putting too much on the defense. We're not doing enough. I got to play a lot better, and we got to score more. We'll see. I don't imagine that the Giants are going to score a ton, but if they can they got a couple of playmakers on offense. They get them loose, and we shall see. That would be a huge one. Worst loss in the NFL. I know that I said it's not a must-win at the top of this hour. The Saints can't lose ones. You don't need to be losing to Seattle. I don't care what Geno's stats say. I don't care that they scored 50 or almost scored 50, or they scored 50 in Detroit. San Francisco handled them. The Broncos are a disaster. You got Cincinnati coming. You're about to go to Arizona. the worst loss on the board to me, the Saints at home against Seattle. That would be disastrous.
Yeah, that'd be just the worst of the season. I know even the naysayers of the Saints, I don't think anyone predicted them to start the season 1-4. That's bad. That means you're very bad. You are what your record are. I don't care who you got. You can have the MVP on your team. Like, you are simply just what your record is. And if you're the Saints and you start 1-4, it's just no way to start off the Dennis Allen era. So, yeah, I agree with you there. But I'm going to go with the Bills at home going against, no more Money Mitch, man. It's a sad day in Pittsburgh,
Kenny
man.
boy.
No more Mr. Trubisky. So, yeah, you got a rookie quarterback coming into town and no T.J. Watt on that defense. You're the Bills. There's just no way you can lose to the Steelers at home, especially with all your Super Bowl aspirations, MVP candidate at quarterback. That'd be a bad loss if you're the Bills. And, Tomlin would definitely, get his credit for being one of the best coaches in football, because I just don't see how they win that football game.
Got about, 3 weeks until it's totally miserable in Buffalo? Like 3 weeks. So he's still fairly seasonal out there at Buffalo for that one. Yeah, that would be not good. The Bills could not handle the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, come back and close out a Thursday edition. It's Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Reliable Roofing and Construction, ReliableRoofingBR.com, Reliable Roofing LLC on Instagram.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
No catch here. Just as an awareness play for breast cancer here in October, Reliable Roofing Construction going to give you $1,000 off of your roofing replacement. $1,000 off. Don't need to be a survivor or know anybody. Just for awareness purposes, $1,000 off your roof replacement at Reliable Roofing for breast cancer awareness. 5-year labor warranty with every single job that they do. If you want to see their work, go to the website, reliableroofingbr.com. See their before and after pictures. They're proud of their work, and they should be, because they offer the highest quality of shingles. They offer the best selection of shingles and that 5-year labor warranty with you every time you hire them to come on out. The other thing they can guarantee, Lionel Hayes, the owner, will visit that job site, not just going to send a crew out there and get them on home when it's done. He's going to give his stamp of approval. Reliable Roofing and Construction, reliableroofingbr.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
NFL is back. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Now I'm really starting to feel it. We're getting close to Saturday. We are getting close. Tomorrow I'll be on a different level.
Oh, yeah. It feels even better because normally I'd be annoyed, but now game day just feels even closer because it's so early. It's like I'm going to be up at 7 in the morning for game day. So, yeah, it's closer than we think.
6:45. So.
Yeah.
I don't know what traffic's going to look like for that. I mean, I've been to a couple 11 o'clock games, but I feel like everyone's kind of getting there at the same time. I can't be late. I can't. Show starts at 9. Like, I got to be there. So if I got to get there an hour and a half early, that's the breaks. But we're gonna check it out. I'm very, very excited and excited to get out to the box a little bit later to watch a little bit of a scrimmage. Do you think the listening public will let me do 30 minutes on baseball tomorrow on Football Friday?
Look, I'm trying to sneak it in there, man. I like sleeping good at night. This baseball team gives me great sleep.
I'm not gonna give you any baseball tomorrow. We'll see maybe next week. All right, let's finish things out with a little bit of take it or leave it. I will start after a preseason game against the Suns. Scored 23 points in 17 minutes. LeBron let it be known that he wants to own an NBA team in Vegas. He added the quote, "Vegas has the best fan base in the world." Vegas has the best fan base in the world. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that, but I tell you, Vegas has the best times in the world. So any opportunity you got a chance to go to Vegas, yeah, you probably don't want to pass up on that. And so, yeah, I think LeBron's shadowing Michael Jordan the best he can, and the best way you do that, you already took the Space Jam, got the Nikes, got everything else, got to own a team. So, yeah, I think LeBron's going to do everything in his power to make sure that happens. And, yeah, for my Lakers, the worst things are going to happen. So.
Can't have the Pels, Vegas.
Yeah, no way that's happening. All righty here. The Ole Miss Collective, they're getting very creative with their NIL deals, with them launching a campaign and giving an NIL deal to Lane Kiffin's dog. Taking or leaving? NIL deals for K9s.
I'm going to leave it. Juice Kiffin, he's on Twitter. He's got a Twitter account. Who gets the money for this? This Juice, he's not really capable of spending the money, boosting the economy. It's kind of a, not
Did you pay taxes?
I don't believe so. So we got a bit of an issue with Juice catching cash. But if Lane's getting more, maybe that's a way to keep Lane in town. I'm not going to have wandering eyes for Auburn because, hey, is Auburn going to give your dog an NIL deal? I didn't think so. So it seems like a little bit much.
Yeah, I agree.
During the Warriors preseason basketball practice, Draymond Green and Jordan Poole got into a bit of a verbal altercation with an ending in Draymond punching Poole in the face. Punching your teammate in the face in preseason practice, take it or leave it.
I got to leave this. Like, Draymond, like, dude, relax. Like, dude, you're always, Draymond. Some guys, like, I can get the energy, the grit, the passion. Like, we want to win, but, like, Draymond, dude, what are we doing? And I heard someone saying there was a little jealousy creeping in there. The Warriors' big three. Now Poole's coming in. Is he the third option? Like, a little jealousy maybe there, Draymond. But, dude, we got to relax when we're throwing punches on our own teammates. Like, seems like the common denominator with all the trouble, getting KD off the team, now you're punching Poole in the face. Like, Draymond, dude, just relax, bro.
But
relax.
He said this in a press conference. He's already said, I'm never changing the way I am because it's gotten me to 2 all-defensive teams, 5 championships, whatever it is. Like, I'm never changing. Like, he just doesn't – it doesn't compute that punching your teammate in the face may not be a great idea. There's nothing in his brain that turns on and says that. He thinks that's just the way he plays, so that's just the way he's going to do it.
Oh, man, Draymond, yeah. I don't know if he's going to get that. I know he got this extension that's trying to shock the world. This next one, I don't know about that one. All right, last one. You'll love this one. Jimbo's Fisher, his last 2 birthday weekends during the college football season have resulting in big-time win for the Aggies, with them beating Florida in 2020, 41-38, and last season taking down the Tide, same score, 41-38. Are you taking or leaving? Jimbo gets the birthday gift of the ages. Aggies take down Bama on Jimbo's birthday.
I can get my pick tomorrow. I can't waste it. I'll just go ahead and give this. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to take the Aggies in Bryant-Denny. Look, I know how fired up that Alabama fan base was in 2020 to come in here, and we all just kind of rolled over and like, look, y'all take it. We know, like, y'all can enjoy it, like, but we're not going to get under our skin with trash talk for this. A&M, I don't think it's going to approach it like that, but they probably should, because it's not going to go super awesome for the Aggies inside Bryant-Denny on Saturday night.
I've never seen a bigger 180 in like a span of 2 months. Like when Jimbo's going back at Nick and Nick's going back at Jimbo and everyone's hating on our great recruit. We earned this recruiting class. So it's our culture. It's our great college station and everything. I'm not hearing much of that lately. Wonder why that is. Interesting.
Because they stink. They're not any good at all. They can't score any points. They don't stop many people on the ground. They're not winning games. I still am mad that they beat Miami and Arkansas. This could have been an all-time clunker season if they would have. But, you know,
still could get back.
We have Saturday to look forward to. And we'll be able to watch that. I'll be off the air. I'm going to be done at like 4 on Saturday, which is unheard of. It's usually closer to 4 in the morning than 4 in the afternoon. So we'll take that. Y'all be a little bit after dinner time, but you will be able to get home in a recent hour, not 2 in the morning. Is good for those involved. But as I said previously, I would have taken a 7 o'clock game as opposed to 11 o'clock. I think that's a bummer for LSU fans for the biggest game we've played in a little bit here in Baton Rouge. That's going to do it. Missed anything on the show, you can always catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. It is always right there at your fingertips. A lot of LSU Tennessee in the early going. Luke Johnson on the Saints at 1:30. A little Saints preview at 2 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow with the Football Friday edition. Jimmy Ott's Game Time tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. Matt's going to drive you home from 3 to 6. Coming up next on After Further Ado. Have a great Thursday. I'm headed to the box. See y'all tomorrow on Hunt and Hill.